Hi there. Welcome to Apple World. How frequently do you actually fight with melancholy graciousness? I'm constantly discouraged, constantly, and I need to continually deliver myself once again from it. Like I awaken discouraged yet, I'm similar to a firm. Now I know my mean since. Like you gain from genuine, like now I need to head outside and be in the sun for a smidgen, or take a walk, or prefer to start the day as such. It's all programming yourself to deceive your cerebrum. You know, you will have a self-destructive personality. Pete Davidson, the famous comic and previous Saturday Night Live cast member, has registered himself with a recovery office to look for treatment for his psychological well-being. The news has gathered consideration for Davidson's choice as well as for the response of his previous sweetheart Kim Kardashian. While the subtleties encompassing Davidson's recovery stretch are as yet arising, sources have uncovered that he's looking for help for marginal behavioral conditions, BPD and post-horrendous pressure jumble PTSD. We should dive further into the circumstances and comprehend Davidson's preferred meaning to focus on his prosperity prior to digging into Kim Kardashian's response. It's pivotal to comprehend the setting encompassing Pete Davidson's choice to enter recovery for emotional well-being treatment. Davidson, known for his authentic conversations about his battles, has been open about his fights with BPD. What's more, PTSD, these circumstances have posed critical difficulties in his day-to-day existence, intensified by the deficiency of his fireman father and the disastrous 911 psychological oppressor assaults when he was only 7 years of age. Davidson's decision to look for help for his emotional well-being is definitely not another advancement. Sources uncover that he has consistently sought a path toward recovery for checkups, and to take a truly necessary mental break this time he's decided up. Similar office in Pennsylvania where his dear companion and individual humorist John Mulaney looked for assist for liquor and medication-related issues with the backing of friends and family and a pledge to taking care of oneself. Davidson is enjoying some time off to zero in on himself and figure out how to more readily adapt to his PTSD. Furthermore, BPD is currently investigating how Kim Kardashian Davidson's previous fire has answered his choice and how it affects their handoff relationship, pushing ahead. Kim Kardashian, who dated Pete Davidson for quite a long time before their split, purportedly answered with understanding and backing to his choice to enter recovery. Sources near Kardashian reveals that she is standing by Davidson during this difficult time and has communicated her relentless help for his obligation to focus on his emotional wellness, notwithstanding their heartfelt connection. Reaching a conclusion, Kardashian is said to have a profound degree of care for Davidson's prosperity, perceiving the significance of psychological well-being and self-awareness. She's supposedly uplifting him to zero in on his recuperation and offering her help from far off. The steady position from Kardashian exhibits a fully grown and merciful way to deal with their relationship, showing that her anxiety for Davidson goes past their heartfelt association as they explore their singular processes. It is not yet clear the way in which their ways might meet in the future, but with Kim Kardashian's comprehension reaction, it is obvious that she esteems Davidson's well-being and satisfaction. Regardless of anything else underscoring the meaning of mental prosperity in their lives, Pete Davidson's family has supposedly lifted him up following his choice to enter recovery for his continuous emotional well-being. Sources near the comic show that his relatives are offering major areas of strength in a framework, offering their affection, support, and understanding during this difficult time. Having seen Davidson's past fights with psychological wellness and his devotion to looking for help, his family is supposed to know all about the significance of recovery in his excursion toward recuperation. They're remaining close by guaranteeing that he feels their steadfast help and advising him that he's in good company in his battle. The comic's relatives are known to be his mainstays of solidarity, and their presence during this troublesome period is critical in assisting him with exploring the difficulties he faces. They have been instrumental in his past recuperations, and their continued help shows the genuine love they have for him by offering their comprehension and standing. Joined Davidson's family is building up the significance of focusing on psychological wellness and stressing the meaning of areas of strength for an organization and one's mending process. With their adoration and consolation, they're furnishing him with the vital strength and inspiration to deal with his battles directly and pursue a better and more joyful future. Pete Davidson has been open about his battles with emotional well-being, which have been irrefutably factual in the public eye. The humorist has spoken truly about his fights with sadness, uneasiness, and marginal behavioral conditions, revealing insight into the difficulties he's faced all through his life throughout the long term. Davidson has been vocal about his encounters and the effect these psychological well-being conditions have had on his own and proficient life. Through interviews, stand-up schedules, and web-based entertainment posts, he shared looks into his process, featuring the significance of destigmatizing emotional well-being issues and empowering others to look for help in spite of his rising distinction and achievement. Davidson has confronted critical obstacles. He's spoken about his battles with confidence, substance misuse, and self-destructive considerations. These difficulties have impacted his prosperity as well as his connections and, by and large, his personal satisfaction in perceiving the weightiness of his circumstances. Davidson has done whatever it takes to address his emotional well-being. He looked for proficient assistance, including treatment and guidance, and has made the gutsy choice to enter recovery at various events to focus on his psychological prosperity and work towards recuperation by transparently talking about his battles. Pete Davidson has become a backer for psychological well-being and mindfulness. His readiness to share his story has resounded, with many igniting significant discussions and reminding others that they're in good company in their own fights in spite of the mishaps he's confronted. Davidson keeps on exhibiting strength and assurance in his quest for a better and more joyful life through treatment, taking care of oneself, and the help of his friends and family. He stays focused on dealing with his emotional wellness and filling in as a motivation for other people who might be confronting comparative difficulties. The insight about Pete Davidson entering recovery has gathered consideration and worry from his dear companions and individual superstars who've shown help and shared their contemplations on his choice to look for help for his psychological well-being. Here are a couple of explanations made by a portion of the famous people who are near him. Judd Apatow, a producer and humorist who's worked intimately with Davidson, communicated his help and deference for Pete's choice to focus on his prosperity. He expressed, "I'm glad for Pete for making the stride and putting his emotional wellness first. It takes boldness to look for help. What's more, I realize he has areas of strength for a framework around him, sending adoration and good energy his way." John Cryer, known for his job on Over 2 Men, shared a sincere message of support for Pete Davidson. He tweeted, sending affection and solidarity to Pete Davidson as he enters recovery. "It's difficult, but it's a valiant step towards recuperating. You have this Pete's automatic weapon." Kelly, as a dear companion of Davidson's rapper and entertainer Automatic Rifle Kelly, offered expressions of help during a meeting. He said, "Pete resembles a sibling to me, and I'm glad for him for looking for help. Emotional well-being is something we ought to all focus on, and I'm here to help him in a way I can. We're pulling for you." Pete, Amy Schumer, an individual humorist and long-term companion of Davidson, communicated her help and understanding. She shared that she stood with Pete in his choice to enter recovery. "Emotional wellness isn't something to trifle with, and I'm glad for him for making this stride, sending adoration and solidarity to my companion." These assertions from famous people near Pete Davidson exhibits a unified front in perceiving the significance of addressing emotional wellness issues and cheering his obligation to look for help. The messages of help and consolation stand as major areas of strength between them, as well as fill in as a sign of the meaning of empathy, understanding, and supporting people on their